Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and it is Tuesday, December 26th. That is right. It is the last and final WWE NXT of 2023. I cannot believe how fast this year has honestly just like flown by. We've got just overall, like from everything that we talked about in pro wrestling, from WWE to AEW, it's truly been a very fun, newsworthy year. I think that's been a great time to be a wrestling fan for sure. And one of the shows that I have thoroughly enjoyed to cover on a weekly basis is NXT. I think throughout the year for NXT, I've only missed like 4 shows. So not too bad for like an entire year. But honestly, I really think that NXT has turned things around and it's becoming a more and more exciting show to watch each and every single week. And I think that next year is going to be an even bigger year for NXT, especially because I think it's towards the end of the year. I think it's October, if I remember correctly. But somewhere towards the end of the year is when we actually get the move from NXT to the CW. Of course, there was also the All Japan announcement. We're going to be seeing some correlation, some connection there between NXT, WWE, and All Japan. That's another thing to kind of get excited about. And so there's a lot going on in terms of just what's going on with the NXT world. We're seeing more people from the main roster go to NXT. That was something that was introduced this year. And overall, like it's looking good. More premium live events. I mean, it's looking like a pretty damn good year for 2024. So we're going to go ahead and discuss what went down on the show here today. We had a couple of interesting topics. And then, of course, also we're going to preview next week's show, which is really going to be the big one because it's NXT New Year's Evil. And we also got some additional matches that were added for that. But before I get started, I hope that everyone had a wonderful Christmas or whatever it is that you holiday, whatever it is that you celebrate in the holidays. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. I know I did. I literally spent 2 days in Christmas pajamas because I did not want to do anything. I've been eating my tamales. I had some for breakfast and dinner yesterday. Then I had some again for dinner here today. It's just been nonstop. But overall, it was a very relaxing and much needed relaxing week, honestly, especially because this week is going to kind of be super crazy here on this channel. If you haven't seen my Twitter account or if you haven't seen all of the scheduled streams here on YouTube, make sure you take a look at that because it is going to be a insanely busy week. We kick things off today with NXT. Tomorrow, I will be back with Reg to talk about AEW Dynamite, and that's going to be the go-home show into AEW World's End. On Thursday, I will be here with all of the girls once again to talk about the best of women's wrestling in 2023. And then on Friday, we have the big return of After the Week. It's going to be myself and Will Washington. We're going to be doing a special edition of the show where Will's going to come on. We're going to interview him, talk to him, talk about World's End. So an interview / preview of World's End. It's going to be a really good time. Then, of course, on Saturday, myself and Reg will be here to talk about AEW World's End. And then I'm going to be doing a bonus show on Sunday. On Sunday, I will be doing a WWE stream where I'm going to be talking about the best matches from every single WWE premium live event this year. So that's what we've got in store on the podcast. And I also have 2 interviews that are locked in this week. There's possibly going to be an additional one there. So possibly 3 interviews. And I think that's it, but there's kind of a lot going on at the moment. So let's get started with a couple of, give some shout outs here. Shout out to Sheldon Jackson for gifting 10 DWO memberships, kicking us off, or rather ending the year in a really solid way. So thank you so much to Sheldon for that. We have a super chat here from a Will Chisholm who says, what do you think about William Regal's son working a title match at All Japan? I think that this could possibly be like the best thing for him because we have seen very minimal stuff for Charlie Dempsey over on the NXT side of things. So we have seen him in a couple of matches, right? But he hasn't really been in any major storylines. We haven't seen much personality out of him just yet. And on the wrestling side, it's been okay, right? It hasn't been bad, hasn't been terrible, but it also hasn't been anything where we're out here going, oh my God, he's our favorite. Like, I don't think we're necessarily doing that either. So I feel that him going over there and having this opportunity is a perfect way, because when it comes to getting better as a pro wrestler, and you see this all the time. You see people go on excursions where they go to another country, they go to another promotion, and they work with different types of people and they get better. And so to me, I think this is a huge, huge win. And again, guys, like the more you wrestle different people, the more you basically get involved in different things, you get more experience. And so I think this is only going to help benefit him. And this is a huge win for him specifically, but also with whatever else they decide to do between both promotions. Real good thing. I like the idea of promotions working with one another in order to help enhance the talent, because again, guys, NXT is a developmental, and you want to, your guys are going to get good, right? By going to the performance center and having matches, multiple matches with all the different guys on the roster. But you can even get better by going out and wrestling, you know, other people with different backgrounds, with different training, and different scenarios. And so that is why I think this is definitely a pro. Brandon Rosen says, hey, Denise, great show tonight. The Breakout tournament final looks good. And so does Ilya versus Trick. Predictions for each one. So we're going to get into the New Year's Evil card, and I'll probably save predictions for the end, but I'm going to start this off right now, though, with the Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams situation and all of that. So thank you so much to Brandon for getting us going on that. So this whole thing last week was very, very controversial because of the way that things ended with Ridge Holland and Ilya Dragunov. A lot of people did not like the storyline. A lot of people did not like the way that things ended on the show. A big reason for that was Ridge Holland is the guy that unfortunately was the one that, you know, was injured Biggie, and Biggie's been out for forever now due to a broken neck. And so they ran the angle on NXT where like they made it seem like he was possibly breaking the neck of Ilya Dragunov. And so that's how they pretty much closed off the show. And so a lot of people did not like that. It did not get positive raving reviews whatsoever. And I said this last week when I was talking about this, because I was like, there's no way they're not going to do Trick Williams versus Ilya Dragunov. Like, there's no way that match is not going to happen. And I said it last week. I said, I really, really wish that they would have said it on commentary. Guys, he may have possibly got a stinger of some sort, because today they did this. When the show closed, they basically did this thing where Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams are doing their contract signing, but not in the ring, rather a vignette instead. And in this vignette, we see Trick Williams ask Ilya Dragunov, like, are you 100%? Like, I don't mind pushing this date forward, because earlier in the night, Trick Williams had told Carmelo Hayes he does not want to face Ilya Dragunov if Ilya Dragunov is not 100% okay, not 100% ready to go. And there was kind of this little bit more tension between Carmelo and Trick, because Carmelo told him, like, dude, you need to take your shot. You need to do this right now. Like, this is your shot to do this. And Trick kind of took that as, are you saying that I cannot defeat Ilya Dragunov if he were at 100%? And so it got a little bit weird, right? But I think you can kind of see usually I've been disagreeing with Carmelo Hayes on a weekly basis, but I think in this specific case, you can see both guys' point of view. Obviously, Trick Williams is the baby face, so he's wanting to do everything with morals and go about it the right way. Whereas Carmelo Hayes is just like, I will do anything, and so should anybody else. Do anything to get their hands on the title. So anyways, it closes off with Trick Williams asking Ilya Dragunov if he is good to go. And Ilya basically says that unfortunately, there is nobody or nothing that can stop him. And he rips off the neck brace and he signs the contract. And we are getting this match at New Year's Evil next week. Now, here's the question though. Are we going to get a new champion? Is Trick Williams going to defeat Ilya Dragunov at New Year's Evil? Now, one more thing before I answer that question. I do like that in the Baron Corbin feud, they really set up that Ilya Dragunov has a lot of pride, because we were seeing that throughout the entire story, was that he has a lot of pride for his work. He has a lot of pride for what he does. He always says that, the only one that can slay the dragon is the dragon himself. And so we're seeing that carry through into this feud with Trick Williams. So in a way, I like how that Baron Corbin storyline ended up helping out this angle here with Trick Williams, Rich Holland, and Ilya Dragunov, and what we're seeing here. So will we see a new champion? Last week, or rather not last week, but the entire time that this has been in the works, I have been truly thinking that Trick Williams is going to win. And then today, I started thinking, well, what if he's not? What if he's not? Because, and this is maybe like, I don't know if this is the right way to look at things, but I was thinking, okay, is this the pay-per-view where I can see Trick Williams becoming, not even a pay-per-view, excuse me, a weekly special, right? Like, is this the one where I see Trick Williams getting this big moment and becoming NXT champion? I'm not so sure that New Year's Evil is the place to do it. However, it's clear that the story that is going here is that Ilya Dragunov, regardless of whether or not he's 100%, he is going to go and do this match regardless. So we know he's not 100%. So do you want Trick Williams to defeat Ilya Dragunov when he's not 100% or when he's actually 100%? Plus, do not forget that we still haven't had the full-on implosion between Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. So here, I feel like we can possibly get two scenarios. And these are the scenarios that I think we can, that might happen. So one is Trick Williams defeats Trick Williams defeats Ilya Dragunov, because again, Ilya's not 100%. He defeats him, and we start off the year with some big news that Trick Williams is the NXT champion. Therefore, getting the year of 2024 started very, very hot and newsworthy. Or it comes down to Carmelo Hayes finally showing and revealing his true colors to Trick Williams, where he somehow cost him this match. And so then we do not get Trick Williams defeating Ilya, but rather Ilya Dragunov retains somehow, some way, with the screw up of Carmelo Hayes coming out and helping him out. I have the feeling that it's going to be more so the latter, because I feel like they don't have to necessarily rush Ilya Dragunov as NXT champion. Like, he hasn't been a champion for that long. He's only had that one PLE defense against Baron Corbin. I feel like there's still a lot more that can be done with Ilya Dragunov as champion. And right now, they still have an entire story to tell with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, to where Trick Williams doesn't, I guess you can say he could use the NXT championship, because that would even make Carmelo Hayes more jealous. But at the same time, the best friend storyline and the betrayal storyline will carry through a lot as well. So honestly, I'm kind of torn here. I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm a little torn. I feel like both of these directions that they can go in can work out either way. So if Trick Williams were to get the championship at New Year's Evil, this of course is going to make Carmelo Hayes insanely jealous. Shit, guys, what are your predictions here? I feel like there's just a bunch of different things that can go down here, and I'm seeing a lot of people saying, Brandon says that he thinks Carmelo's going to screw Trick. Keith says that Trick is going to lose. Tony says the Mad Dragon will remain our NXT champion. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of people. We got Pierre here who says that Ilya will stay champion. So I think a lot of people are feeling more so that Carmelo Hayes is somehow going to cost Trick Williams this match, and Ilya Dragunov is going to retain. I think that's where we can get at. I think that, keep in mind that, oh man, I was going to say, because if you do get there's still a lot of other opportunities for Trick Williams to win the title and to win it at a big PLE where it could be like this big, massive moment where they can still tell these stories. So for that reason, I think my official pick is Ilya Dragunov retaining. I think the chat kind of convinced me a little bit more because I was torn, honestly, and I'm still not even fully confident in this one. And that's what I like, though. I will say this, though. There's been a lot of times where I feel like I've seen right through the booking of NXT. Like there's times where I look at this and I go, yeah, I know exactly what's going to happen, who's going to win, how it's going to go down. And lately, they have been finding ways to swerve me. There was another swerve later on in the show, actually in NXT Men's Breakout Tournament, that completely swerved me. So we'll talk about that when we get to it. But the point is, they're starting to find ways to sort of surprise me a little bit and not make it so predictable, which in a way is what I want. I don't want to go into this predicting or feeling like I know exactly what's going to happen. I want to be torn. I want to not know what is going to happen, because then when I watch the shows, it's a lot more exciting when you don't know what's going to happen, or rather when you're taken by surprise, but in a good way though, not in like a shitty way, you know, not in a shitty way. All right, so we got a lot of different people saying different things here, but I think we got Stephen Marchulli who says that he believes that Trick is going to win WrestleMania weekend. I can see that. NXT Stand and Deliver, I can definitely see that happening. We got Daniel here who says, I say at NXT Stand and Deliver 2024, it will be a triple threat match with Trick Williams going for the title then. Huh. Man, like I'm telling you, they can have a lot of fun with this because right now you got a lot of really good things. So with Ilya, you have this champion that is a tough MFer, right? Like absolutely every person here knows that Ilya Dragunov is a tough son of a bitch. Like point blank, Ilya Dragunov can fight just about anybody. They have sold him to be this dominant champion who's going to do what it takes to defend his championship with honor and hard work, right? Okay, we know he's like a freak in the ring. We get it, all right? So you got this very, very strong champion. Then you have Trick Williams, who is getting these crazy reactions when he goes out there. He's over with the people. The people want to see Trick Williams as champion. So you got somebody that's a babyface that's getting over, all right? Someone to root for. Someone you're like, I want to see this moment happen for this person. But then you also have Carmelo Hayes in this, who is a former champion who's had so many accolades of his own in NXT, who also has a very serious connection to both of these guys in different ways. With Ilya, he has all of their battles back and forth that they've went through. And with Trick Williams, he has the personal relationship, which is that they were former friends. So with these three guys alone, you have some very interesting things to play with in terms of storytelling, in terms of matches. And that to me is kind of the most intriguing part of all of this, is that all of these people you have some sort of interest in, and all of these people have something that they're riding with, that they're really, really riding with. So there's a lot to be excited about in regards to Trick, Carmelo, and Ilya Dragunov here. So some good stuff there. Alrighty, we let's go ahead and continue and move on from here. And let's get into the NXT year-end awards. So we did a live voting last week, which was very fun, something different to do on the podcast. And we officially found out who the winners are here today. I hope I didn't miss any of them. I might have missed some of them, but these are the ones that I got. I do this terrible thing, guys, and most of you guys know, but every time it's commercials, I leave and I go run and do errands, and then I come back and I'm like, okay, show started. But there's times where I might miss one thing because sometimes they do things where it looks like the show just started, but then you're like, wait a minute, did I miss something? And most of the time I rewind, but you know how it is. All right, so we need to talk about some of these because these are very good. Creed Brothers, they win the NXT Tag Team of the Year. And point blank, I would have been pissed had anybody else won. They were the most impressive team. They were the ones that showed the most potential. And they actually finished the story and went to the main roster this year. So happy for them. Thumbs up. Tiffany Stratton won Female Superstar of the Year. And I don't remember if I voted for Tiffany. I think I voted for Lyra. But regardless, I cannot argue Tiffany Stratton winning this because she did have a phenomenal year. She had great matches with Becky Lynch, with Wendy Chu. She was the NXT Women's Championship for a short time. She also really grew into this character that she did where she got her little Tiffy time catchphrase. She had all of these little segments and moments throughout the entire year, and she became a fan favorite. So I definitely think that Tiffany Stratton deserved this award. Ilya Dragunov won Male Superstar of the Year. I was surprised by this one. I really thought that it was going to be Carmelo Hayes because I feel like Ilya Dragunov had a better end of the year versus Carmelo Hayes, I think, stayed strong pretty much the entire year. So I was surprised by that one. But regardless, I ain't going to argue that. I love Ilya Dragunov, so I'm cool with that. Moment of the year went to The Undertaker arriving at NXT on the October 10th episode. I think everybody and their mothers knew that that was going to win. There was no way that that was not going to win. And then match of the year was Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov at NXT No Mercy. And honestly, they could have chosen any one of their matches that they had in 2023. And I would have been like, bro, thumbs up, because they did do some phenomenal work throughout the year. So that was the NXT year-end awards. All right. Let's go ahead and get into Dominic Carranza says, you act like what you do during commercials is something that no one has done in the history of TV. Well, here's the thing though. Here's the thing with that, because I'm here sitting down reviewing the shows, and there's times where they make like little announcements even in the commercials. And so there's times where I come back and I'm like, shit, when did this happen? Oh my God, they announced it during the commercials. And so that's why I stick around and during the commercials and stick around to see what happens. But honestly, there's just too much to do. I got to run around. I got to do stuff. So don't punish me for leaving during commercials. All right. So let's get into NXT Underground, because that is what closed out the show. Now, I want to get your honest thoughts here in the chat about this one, because I'll be real with everybody. This was not my cup of tea. I don't think NXT Underground, Raw Underground, any Underground has ever been my cup of tea. And for that, there was multiple reasons why for me that the Underground whole thing still has not gotten over with me. And the big reason for that is that I feel, first of all, I feel that this match would have been better off as a last man standing or a street fight or literally anything else, honestly. Because there was a lot of things that they did in this match that I did not feel kind of went with the NXT Underground, with what it's supposed to be. You know, when you guys watch Bloodsport, it's a little bit more of like a worked shoot fight. That's what we see there. Versus this kind of came off as like, the best way to describe this is as like movie MMA. It comes off as a little bit hokey. And so for that reason, I wasn't a big fan of it. And I haven't been a big fan of the Underground matches that they do. And I think primarily it's because I've seen the other stuff. And so when you compare it, it comes across as a little hokey for me. I also did not like the incorporation of using the weapons with the belt, because I'm like, bro, like, aren't you, to me, this was more so of using your body to say, I'm going to kick your ass man to man. We ain't going to fight with no weapons. We're going to kick each other's butts. Mano a mano, guys. Mano a mano. And so I did not like that incorporation of it either. I also did not like the way that this was shot, because I felt that the camera was way too low and I could just see and was very distracted by the backs of everybody's heads. And so that was the other thing that I did not like about this. So for that reason, I did not like this very much. But I will say the things I did like about this, because there were a couple of things. One, Eddy Thorpe kind of went from a guy that I really didn't care about on the NXT brand, because there really wasn't, like, they weren't really giving me anything for a good amount of time, right? He was just there, which happens with a few people, but he was just there. But through this storyline with Dijak, I've gotten to know Eddy Thorpe a little bit more from watching him more on TV. So that was a win. We're getting more familiar with Eddy Thorpe. I like his dance. Thumbs up on that. And then the other thing that I want to say that I did like is I prefer for if you guys remember when they did Raw Underground, they used to do it like not in the actual, center of the arena. It used to be somewhere else in the back and all of that. I like the way that they did it actually there, like in the ring with all of the people live and setting. I did like that as well. And that was kind of about it. I did like the energy of this match. Good energy from both guys. And that was it. But for me, I personally am just not a fan of the underground matches. Again, I wasn't in Raw. I'm not in NXT. So for that reason, I was kind of out on this one. But let's see what people are saying. Do you agree? Do you disagree? This is a democracy. You are more than welcome to give your opinions. All right. Speaking of which, actually super random. Damn it. All right. Wanted to recommend a documentary to you guys that I just watched because it popped into my head right now when I said it wasn't a democracy, that it is a democracy. And now I'm forgetting what the name of the documentary was, but it was about North Korea and just like awfulness. But it was a really good documentary. It was about people trying to escape North Korea. I highly recommend it. Damn it. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. Hopefully it comes to me at some point. But when I remember it, I will promote it because I think that you guys know I'm always promoting documentaries and it was so freaking good. If anybody here knows the name of it, please tell me in the freaking chat because honestly, I want to make sure I recommend it. But anyways, let's see what people are saying about this. Here we go. So this is Mike. He says he actually really likes the NXT version of Underground. If you were to ask me which one I preferred, NXT's version or Raw's version, I would probably say NXT's version for sure. Let's see what else we got here. This is from Goodfella1422 who says, love any Dijak match, but just don't connect with Eddy Thorpe. His entrance was dope though. Yeah, the entrance was pretty cool. I started thinking, if you put Eddy Thorpe's entrance plus Jey Uso's entrance, that, my friends, is a really good workout because you get the body movement with Eddy Thorpe. You get the arm movement with Jey Uso. Literally, that was crossing my mind as Eddy Thorpe went out and did his whole thing. Tony says, don't blame Denise. Blame Shane O'Mac with the underground idea. I had forgotten about that, by the way, but yeah, you're right on that. Stephen Marchuli says, NXT Underground makes regular matches less important / real. Huh. Okay. So wait, I'm taking this as you see this as a good thing or a negative thing. Not sure. Maybe expand on that one, Stephen, so I can get a better understanding of what you meant by that. This was from Goodfellow who says, I like the vibe, just not invested in this feud. I got somewhat invested. In the beginning, I wasn't invested in the feud either, but I did get invested at NXT Deadline when Eddy Thorpe came out and cost Dijak the match, and I liked what they did the follow-up week. But then after that, so I was interested enough to give this underground thing a chance again. I was interested enough to give it a chance and actually really pay attention and really, truly I really, truly gave it an honest shot. I can honestly say that I gave it a real shot at me becoming a fan of the Underground because they did manage to get me interested in Eddy Thorpe and Dijak's story. But then again, they lost me afterwards for this one. So unfortunately, it wasn't it for me. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what people are saying. I think that's a little bit of difference. We got Fernando Zayas who says he's never been a fan of this match either. I think it really just depends on a couple of people, guys. And all right, so let's see what people are saying. This one's from Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Thank you so much for the super chat, Cosmic Joe. He says, I love it. Making WWE Underground 1 hour program. Invoke UFC talent. Well, let's not forget that they now have a partnership with Endeavor. But if it were to be a 1 hour program, it could probably work for those that are interested in this concept. But if you're not interested in this concept, for example, let's say they did it, right? A 1 hour show on a Thursday. Just throw that out there. I would tune in the first week to get a feel for it. I would tune in the second week, maybe tune in the third week. and then that's it. I don't think I would tune in anymore. It would depend. It would depend on how it was executed. But I'm going to say I would probably not be interested. That's just me. Until they actually sell me on it, then I will. But as of right now, I'm just not feeling it. Thank you so much to Cosmic Joe Chronicles, though, for sending in this super chat. Brandon Rosen says, personally, I don't like the underground gimmick because it portrays itself as a real fight and suggests that the matches we normally watch are fake, which to me is undermining pro wrestling and us fans. Okay, thank you, Brandon. I know you had sent in that earlier comment, so thank you so much for elaborating on this. And I don't disagree with what you're saying here. I definitely do not disagree, and I see your point here. So, Brandon, thank you so much for this generous super chat and for also kind of elaborating a little bit more on what you meant earlier. I appreciate that. So thank you so much to Brandon. All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's get into Bron Breakker versus Nathan Frazer. This was probably one of my favorite matches of the night. I really enjoyed what they did here because I love the story that they told. The story here was speed versus strength. We know that Bron Breakker is one strong motherfucker. We know that Nathan Frazer is one speedy MFer. We know it. And so to kind of see both of them come together in this match, I thought was pretty cool. So for the most part, so I got to tell you guys, the way that this whole thing even started, we had Nathan Frazer talking with Axiom, and he was backstage talking a little smack about Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker creeps up behind him and doesn't like the things he's saying. This match is officially made. And then afterwards, Nathan Frazer looks at Axiom and tells him, like, why? You could have at least warned me, dude. And Axiom tells him, I winked at you, brother. Axiom wears a mask, ladies and gentlemen. Nathan Frazer cannot see him winking. Just FYI, in case you didn't know who Axiom was. Just throwing that out there. But it was really funny, though. A really funny way to set it up. But this match was like watching Tom and Jerry. That's literally what this was, and I really enjoyed that. For the most part, it was Bron Breakker pretty much getting the most of the action in this match. He was being very dominant. He's like tossing Nathan Frazer. He's able to pretty much get the upper hand throughout the most of this match, but Nathan Frazer was able to show his speedy side. He was running the ropes. He was doing a dive to the outside, but eventually we see Bron Breakker hit his spear and win this match. I thought this was a good match for both of these guys and a fun way to kind of wrap up the year with two guys that are obviously on different levels on NXT, but Nathan Frazer has had some good moments throughout the year on NXT. So I felt like this was a good matchup for Bron Breakker to come out and get a solid victory over somebody that did matter on the NXT brand, because I think people, I'm going to say for the most part, I'm going to assume people here like Nathan Frazer because he's pretty entertaining. And speaking of Axiom, he had phenomenal matches with Axiom earlier in the year. I'm trying to remember. This was this year. Yes. Nathan Frazer, for the most part, I think has gotten a good group of fans or made people into his fans because he's got a lot of really good potential, I think. So I think he's going to be one to have a good 2024 as well. But that's where we're at with Bron Breakker and Nathan Frazer. Decent match. All right, so let's get to the men's breakout tournament, because earlier I mentioned that we had that I was swerved here. All right, so remember when I said that when they added Lexis King, when he attacked Trey Bear Hill and he was inputted into this tournament, I came out here and I was like, oh my God, it's a dead giveaway. We already know Lexis King is winning. I went on a whole 5-minute rant about it and how I was disappointed. Literally, egg on my freaking face. I came out here and was like, I'm so disappointed because I already know who's gonna win. It's gonna be Lexis King. And now I'm embarrassed for myself because I was swerved. All right. And I even mentioned it last week. It crossed my mind. I said it on the post show. I said there is a chance that if Lexis King doesn't win, it's because Trey Bear Hill costed him the match. But then I was like, oh, but I don't think it's going to happen. Lexis King is still going to win. Bro, I literally said it and then doubted myself last week. And we ended up seeing that scenario play out here tonight. So congratulations, NXT. Y'all swerved me on this one. So we had Lexis King versus Riley Osborne. Now, Riley Osborne, for those of you who don't know, is the new heartthrob on NXT. And I say he's a heartthrob because Thea Hale is crushing on him hard. All right? Good looking fella. Don't blame her. She's crushing on him. They're doing a whole little love story there. I love it. She's out there looking like Taylor Swift, clapping for her Travis Kelce. It's a whole thing that they're doing. So Riley Osborne is, getting his little storyline going and whatnot. And has not been bad whatsoever. He's come out there. He's had some good moments during these NXT breakout matches. And so I was still not expecting him to continue on, though, until Trey Bearhill comes out during this match. And I, first of all, have to applaud Trey because I love how salty he is. I love that he is still salty at the fact that Lexis King took him out of this tournament. Because since he's a new guy that we've never seen before, they could have easily never even had him come out after he was eliminated. It could have just all been forgotten, right? No one here is going to be like, where's Trey Bearhill, right? Because none of us even knew Trey Bearhill. So the fact that they had him come out and continue this when they didn't have to, I was a fan of this because I love that Trey wanted his revenge. And so all of a sudden, my interest has been piqued with Trey Bearhill. So Trey Bearhill comes out during this match and he's watching. And just as it looks that Lexis King has this match won, he's like, nah, bro, not in my house, not today. And he makes, I don't even know what he did. He did some sort of, he made some noise, I think with the chair. And that distracted Lexis. And so Riley Osborne went in there, hits a shooting star press, and defeats him. And Riley Osborne continues on in this tournament. We see a little confrontation between Trey and Lexis. And I like this. I'm interested in what they're doing here with Lexis and Trey. Even though we know nothing about him, I kind of like it though. I'm curious as to why they specifically chose Trey, what we're gonna see from this, and how we're gonna go from here. So Riley Osborne moves on. He is going to the finals, and then we had the second match. So this one was between Obafemi and Tavion Heights. Now, both of these guys have been pretty damn impressive. They're both big powerhouse type dudes, all right? I liked what we saw from Tavion Heights. I more so liked what we saw from Obafemi. But in this match, they came together, and I didn't think this was a bad match. Like, this was a fine, simple little match. It wasn't as explosive, as I might have thought that it was going to be between these two big powerhouse dudes, but it was still like a perfectly fine little match that we got here. We see Obafemi tossing Tavion, and because they're both big guys, that was pretty impressive as well. We see Oba get him with an uppercut, and at one point I thought they were going to end it there, but Tavion ends up kicking out. But we eventually see Obafemi get the victory in this, and I think for the most part, anytime I ask people in the chat or anytime I ask people on social media, it seems like a lot of people have been wanting Obafemi since the very beginning. And just based on what I've seen from him in this tournament, I know why people want Obafemi. And so the finals are going to be Riley Osborne versus Obafemi. Now, I'm cool with either guy winning this personally because I do like what we've seen from Riley Osborne. He's a different kind of a wrestler, but he's still a wrestler that I always obviously want to see moving forward. But I think that Obafemi, though, this moment feels like it's meant for him. And the energy that I'm getting from this is that Obafemi is winning this tournament. He's got the fans on his side. People are interested in him. He's been doing a good job. This feels like his tournament to win. So Obafemi, I'm rooting for you. I'm looking forward to seeing what these two guys do together in this match because you got Riley who's going to go out there and he's going to be pretty darn entertaining. But then at the same time, you have this huge size difference between both guys. Obafemi is going to eat him up possibly, but who knows because Riley Osborne is also pretty good too. So I'm looking forward to seeing the dynamics of this match in the finals for the NXT. They're doing this match over at NXT New Year's Evil. So good stuff here with the men's breakout tournament. I feel like I've gotten to know the names that I would say mostly stood out to me. Obviously Riley, obviously Oba, Tavion is the other one. Kiana Carver, I don't feel like I got to see much of him. Dion Lennox, didn't get to see much of him. Luca Crucifino, only a little bit. Miles Bourne, not too much of him. And then Trey Bearhill, just what we've seen between him and Lexis King. That's been all right with me. So, but in terms of wrestling, I obviously still need to see a whole lot more to say otherwise. But either way, I like the men's breakout tournament. I was saying that I feel like the women are really the interest for me on NXT on a weekly basis. So when we got these new faces and these new guys to get excited about, that makes me happy. So that's where we're at. All right, guys. So that was the men's breakout tournament. We have a super chat here from Will Chisholm who says, HBK said, you don't know my booking. For reals, man. For reals. But I do love that, though. I love the fact that they're surprising us because I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys here also thought that Lexis King was going to win. I read the comments. I saw what people were saying. I think everybody thought that this was a clear-cut victory for Lexis King. Will Chisholm, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. All right, so let's keep it going. Let's move on. We need to get into Josh Briggs versus Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup. Oh man, I hate to be a negative Nancy. I think the chat here can predict how I'm going to feel about this. Because I feel the same way after all of these Heritage Cup matches. I'm just not a fan, guys. I'm not a fan of the format. I'm so sorry. It's just, again, not my cup of tea. And I feel like these Heritage Cup matches are becoming extremely predictable to where we already know what the outcome is going to be. We already know that this is just a prop. So it makes me completely disinterested in the matchup and already within the format. Like the format to me is already not a format that I'm interested in. And so then on top of that, you add that we're pretty much seeing the same thing all the time in these Heritage Cup tournaments. So for that reason, it's an automatic out for me. And so, I mean, we're watching this and there were some good moments, mainly because the whole time you were wondering if Josh Briggs was actually going to be able to pull it off, because the whole thing was that he went out there with no friends, with none of his friends. With Brooks Jensen, Fallon Henley, they were not there. But Noam Dar, he had all of his metaphor people out there helping him out in between breaks and all of that. Lash Legend getting involved, getting a bucket involved. And then we end up seeing Briggs, getting himself, ends in DQ. And I'm just like, I don't know if this was really my cup of tea. So for that reason, I was out on the match. But what we need to talk about is what went down afterwards, which was Fallon, Brooks Jensen, and Josh Briggs are all in the back, and they're sort of trying to comfort him coming off of this loss. And Brooks Jensen is basically saying the truth here. He starts to speak the truth, and he says, it's very clear that you want to be a singles competitor. And then he tells Fallon, you need to accept that match with Tiffany Stratton. So they all are in agreement. And this is probably the saddest part on NXT because we saw the breakup of these friends. They've been friends on this show for quite a while. We got plenty of storylines. We got a love story at one point. They've tag teamed a whole lot. They've been out there supporting Fallon Henley. They did so many vignettes. So they kind of have a good amount of history on NXT. But that's it. It's over, guys. They broke up. They're all going to go a different direction. And I don't know. I think Fallon, she'll be fine, right? I think she'll be fine. I think she's going to go off. She's going to do her thing. She's been doing good. I mean, obviously, she's going to have this match with Tiffany Stratton. It's all looking good for Fallon. And Josh Briggs, I feel, has been doing a good job, too. He was in the Iron Survivor. He had this match here today and some of the past work that he has done. The one that I'm sort of wondering what things are going to look like for him is Brooks Jensen. I don't know what his thing is going to be. I don't know what he's going to look like on the show come 2024. And I do fear just a tad bit that he might get lost in the shuffle of things. NXT is good about making sure that they keep the same people that they have consistently on TV so that you don't forget about them. But I don't know, man. It's not really looking too positive right now for Brooks Jensen. So I really hope that they come up with something cool and exciting for him and don't forget about him, But with Josh Briggs and Fallon Henley, I feel like they're going to be all right. So that's where I'm at with all of this. Pierre says Briggs will be a great big boy. Tony says, I have one word for Fallon Henley. Raw. Damn, dude, that would be pretty cool. You know what? I don't disagree with this. Tony Hayes says, hopefully a new haircut. I hate the curly mullet look. Look, it's different because no one really has that look. But the reason why people don't have that look is because it's not of this decade. Well, technically, like people are sporting the big curls, like teenagers are doing the big curly look. Like that's the thing, but it's not a mullet though. So he's got the mullet. He doesn't have like the big fro like at the top that my little brothers have it. They are so into it. Like they got their big curls. I even got them like hair conditioner curling products for their big curls that they've got. So I know that it's a very, very popular look right now, but it's not in a mullet. So I do agree. I would like to see a different change in the look and maybe just a little bit different, maybe more of this, more of a modern look, I would say. A little bit more modern because that's important, right? Your look and how you present yourself and how people see you and how you're presenting yourself is going to determine whether or not people are interested in you and interested in what you have to offer. So I would like to see a little bit of a new look for Brooks Jensen. So we'll see. Dom says, Killer of Demons says, Dom has an epic mullet. Come on now. His is a little different though. I think, you know what? I think what it might be for Brooks is that he also has the mustache. And so I think the mustache and the mullet together might age him a little bit. I think that's what it is. It's the combination of the two. That's what I think it is. Because I see it. Honestly, I see it now. I think that's literally what the issue was. But whatever. New character should be incoming, hopefully. We'll see what they do there. I'm excited to see what the creative is for Brooks Jensen. But yeah, I do agree a little bit with the hair and the also I hate mustaches. Sorry guys, if you have one, I'm so sorry. I'm just not a person that likes mustaches. I am a beard girl. I love beards. Give the guy a beard and all of a sudden I'm going to be on board like, yeah, let's go. All right, I'm done. I'm going off on a tangent here. Sheldon Jackson sends in a super chat. Thank you so much to Sheldon who says, I think it's time to unify the North American title and the Heritage Cup. I think it's just there in regards to the Heritage Cup. I feel like the Heritage Cup now, it just feels like a prop. Like it doesn't feel like anything that if I were a wrestler on the roster, would I want to win the Heritage Cup? Honestly, probably not, because I don't feel that it has been presented in a way where like I want my hands on it. Obviously, they do a lot of segments where people want their hands on it, but to me, it's literally the 24/7 championship at this point. It's literally the 24/7 championship, and I think I cared more about the 24/7 championship than I do the Heritage Cup right now. And because at least I was interested in the whole anything can happen at any moment, and 50 people are gonna win the title and 10 seconds and let's see what they end up doing, right? I think that was even just a little bit more exciting than the Heritage Cup. So for that reason, that's where I'm at. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're a fan of the Heritage Cup because I'm just not right now. But you can change my mind. You can change my mind. You can't change my mind on a mustache though. You can't change my mind on a mustache. Sheldon Jackson, thank you so much for the super chat. See, this is why I do not like mustaches. Killer of Demons says Jensen's got that 80s porn stash. Every person that has a mustache looks like they are coming out of a porno. I'm sorry. Name me one person that has a mustache that does not look like an 80s porn star or some sort of porn star. I don't even know what decade the porn stars wore the mustaches in. It's not, I don't know about that stuff. But oh man, I'm just buried a hole deeper for myself right now. Brandon Rosen sends in a super chat saying, what about the beard stash combo? Actually the beard stash combo I'm into. Yeah, I do like that, but not if the mustache is too much. It's got to be a nice even layer or maybe a little bit more beard than the actual mustache. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. Brandon Rosen, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, man. Dominic Carranzo says, I think I heard your husband go, I'm making sure my mustache never grow again. So when I got married a year and a half ago or 2 years, I don't even know what year anymore, My husband said that he was going to, because he knows how much I hate mustaches. He said he was going to get a mustache for the wedding. And I said, if I walk down the aisle and I see your ass with a mustache, I'm going to turn around and walk back. I will not marry you in a mustache. That is how much I hate mustaches. One time, he tried a couple of years ago to go on a date with me with a mustache. No beard, just a mustache. I said, nope. And he had to shave it off before we went to dinner. I did not go to dinner with this man and his mustache. That is how strongly I feel about mustaches, because it reminds me of like porn dudes. I'm sorry. That's literally what it reminds me of. And that's why I'm not a fan of the stash. Oh man, I feel so bad for it. I'm sorry. If you have a mustache, I'm sure it looks great on you. I'm done. I'm telling you, I'm digging my hole deeper right now. All right, let's get into Karmen Petrovic versus Cora Jade. This is something that I was a fan of because Cora Jade is back and we're all happy to see Cora Jade back. And this whole match, this all went down because last week Cora Jade came in. She's out here moving people's locker rooms. She's out here trying to get rid of people's locker rooms and doing her thing, right? So they end up having this match. It's a relatively simple match. Jade hits her DDT. She wins. She tries to continue the attack on Karmen, but Gigi Dolan comes in and she helps out Karmen. And this was really the thing that I was excited about, was primarily because I feel like not much has been going on with Gigi Dolan as of late. Like things were going pretty good. Somewhat good after the stuff with JC Jane, or the stuff that she was doing with JC Jane, excuse me. And then after that, there was really nothing that continued it. And so I feel like Gigi Dolan has sort of been getting lost in the shuffle a little bit. And so we need a story for her. And her and Cora Jade, I'm interested in that. I am definitely interested in that. So that to me was the big like thumbs up moment. And also I like Karmen Petrovic. I think she has a really good look. I'm interested in seeing more of her. I want to see her wrestle more because based on what I saw today, she was fine. I want to see more of her. So they did two things here. They got me excited about Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, and they got me looking forward to more of Karmen Petrovic because she was part of the NXT Women's Breakout tournament, but we didn't really see too much of Karmen that I remember. And if we did, there probably wasn't anything that was really explosive. So that's probably why I don't remember. But regardless, I liked what I saw here today. Sheldon Jackson says, who are you to tell me what to do with my facial hair? LOL. I'm just recommending, guys, beard number 1, 2, beard, mustache. And I don't know why there's balloons coming out on this stream. I don't know why that happened, guys. 1, beards. 2, beards and stash. 3, no facial hair. And then 4, nope. Put sideburns. I like sideburns. Sideburns are nice. Put sideburns above no facial hair, and then no facial hair, and then mustache. Those are the only facial hairs that I know. If I missed any others, I'm sorry. Thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson for the super chat. I'm out here ranking facial hair for men. Oh man. Jared says I can picture of a female with a beard. Well, they have those bearded ladies at the circus. If I was a man, I think I'd have a great beard. I would definitely go for one. Juan Castle says real women love men with a stash. You are crazy, Juan. You're crazy. Do a poll. Just go ask any woman you can. What does she prefer? Mustache or beard? Or the clean look? A lot of women like the clean look. I don't like the clean look because I like a little bit more of a, I don't like the pretty boy look. So for that reason, I tend to go more for like the beard look. Oh, I love a good beard. A good beard, thumbs up. Thumbs up. All right, so Joe Gacy, Joe Coffey. We got this match that went down. So as I was watching this match, the entire time I kept thinking, damn, when's the last time we saw Joe Gacy wrestle on NXT? Because it literally feels like it's been forever. Well, I went and checked. The last time we saw Joe Gacy wrestle on NXT TV was September 26th. He had a match against Trick Williams. So we have not seen this man wrestle in about 3 months. not necessarily too ideal. We mainly have been seeing, him go off from the schism and he's starting or trying to find something new. It really just feels like they have him going in these random segments every week. I mentioned that one week he's ready to jump off the performance center. The next he's in the stands, ruining one of the women's matches. Stealing a ring bell. The next, he's out here pulling freaking Joe Coffey under the ring and screwing him in a triple threat match, which ended up working out because then he got this match with Joe Coffey because of that. And it was just more so like, okay, we need to see what they're. I don't know right now what the plan is for Joe Gacy. Like, to me, they haven't really given me the ingredients to this recipe. I cannot make out what the recipe is. Like, they're giving me a bunch of ingredients, but I'm like, what are we making? An appetizer, a dessert? What are we doing here? Honestly, I'm not really sure what's going on with Joe Gacy in terms of the character dynamic, but I guess we'll figure it out soon. All I know is that he's confused. He's maybe feeling a little unloved. That's all that I can put together based on what we've been seeing the last couple of weeks. But I hope that we get to see Joe Gacy more in the ring, because that's the only way that we're going to, he's going to continue to improve and do his thing. It's only by seeing more of him on the show. So this was a fine little match. Joe Gacy comes back. He gets his win. He definitely needed to, since again, it's been over 2 months since we have seen this man wrestle on NXT TV. So that's where we're at with that. Jose Palomares sends in a super chat. Thank you so much to Jose, who says, Denise is stash shaming. Who is the first that rocked the Steiner stash? LOL, keep being you. Oh man, I'm a stash shamer. I'm ending the 2023 year as a stash shamer. I'm sorry. Sorry to all the men with stashes out there. Jose Palomares, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. I'm going to make a shirt. Oh, do you guys remember the Bryan Danielson shirt? The beard is, oh my gosh, it was like the beard is here and it was the arrow pointing up. Bro, I had that shirt. Are you kidding me? I loved that shirt. I made sure to buy that shirt. Anyways. The Hulk Hogan beard, his little thing that he's got going, the little mustache that he has, the iconic Hulk Hogan mustache. No, I could never. All right. We got a couple more things to get into. Really, we have one more match, and then we got to talk about NXT New Year's Evil. We saw Bronco Nima and Lucian Prince with scripts defeat Chase U. The whole thing of this match was that if Chase U won this match, then their debt would be taken care of. They did not. They lost this match. So now I think they have more debt now. So Chase University is going down. I don't know what they're doing next with Chase U. I don't know. We'll figure out what they do in 2024. I'm going to move into NXT New Year's Evil because that's the thing that I want to talk about. So NXT New Year's Evil, that's going to be our first show for NXT next week. And we're going to be in a brand new year, 2024. We got a couple of matches here. We're going to be seeing Tiffany Stratton versus Fallon Henley. And the thing that they promoted today, so originally it was, if Fallon Henley lost, she would have to be the servant of Tiffany Stratton. But now they added that if Fallon Henley wins, then Tiffany Stratton is going to be, I think they had her, like, I forgot the name of it, like a farm hand or something. Something hand. She's going to be helping her out. She's going to be getting her hands dirty. So now I want to see Tiffany Stratton lose, because I need to see Tiffany Stratton working. I need to see Tiffany Stratton getting her hands dirty, because that to me is going to be comedy. So I hope that we see Fallon Henley defeat Tiffany Stratton. Men's Breakout Tournament Finals, we've spoken a great deal about this. Riley Osborne versus Oba Femi. I'm going to go with Oba Femi on this one. We got the NXT Women's Championship, Lyra Valkyria versus Blair Davenport. I'm expecting a pretty damn solid match, but Lyra Valkyria for the win. I do not want to see Lyra Valkyria lose. You guys know this. Ever since she won the title from Becky Lynch, I want to see this woman have a long run. I also want to mention that I did love the promo work that they did between both of these girls. They did a great job with Sarah Schreiber there, doing the interviews, moderating the interview rather, and Lyra and Blair just like going at it. It felt like very, very two girls that were very, very confident in their own selves, and it definitely showed in this interview. Lyra thinks that Blair is a coward because Blair did all of these attacks, but Blair basically pointed out that she beat 4 other women in this Women's Iron Survivor Challenge. So, they're definitely not seeing eye to eye here, and they're both very confident in their own selves. Love that. But Lyra Valkyria for the win. The singles match for the NXT Championship, Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams. I spoke in great deal about that earlier, but I'm going to go with Ilya Dragunov retaining at New Year's Evil. We'll see what they end up doing. Another match that was added was Ariana Grace versus Roxanne Perez, because if you guys remember, we saw that big giant slap from Roxanne to Ariana. Well, now is her chance to get some revenge, but I fear that Roxanne Perez is going to eat this woman up. She is going to beat her into a new dimension. I'm looking forward to it because I love Ariana Grace's facial expressions. Plus, I'm curious to see what she's going to look like in this match in terms of her in-ring stuff. Because we've seen some in-ring from Ariana. Not enough yet, so we still need to see a lot more. And I think this match with Roxanne Perez is really going to show us where Ariana is in terms of her level. We're also going to be seeing a 6-man tag team match. Dragon Lee, Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro versus Drew Gulak, Charlie Dempsey, and Damon Kemp. One thing to note here is that backstage we did see Joaquin and Cruz del Toro with Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice. And Elektra and them are like, and Dragon Lee's there too. They're all like vibing, having like a great little moment, catching up, old friends. And Lola Vice looked incredibly irritated that she either A, did not want anything to do with them, or B, she felt that Electric took way too long to actually introduce her. I don't know why she was technically upset, but she was upset. So we'll see where they go from here with this Elektra Lopez, Lola Vice situation. But that is the card for NXT New Year's Evil, and we will be breaking that down next week. Alrighty, everybody, that is pretty much it for today. I want to thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in to the NXT weekly shows. Please, guys, if you haven't already, head on over to Apple Podcasts. I mention this each and every single week, but it really does help out the podcast a lot to get new reviews, new followers, even if you just watch on YouTube, just clicking a follow on the Apple Podcast page or the Spotify page. It really helps the podcast a lot just to kind of rank a little bit higher. So if you guys have the time or if you're interested, help a girl out. I'll probably push it a lot more next year, but I want to make sure to start mentioning it now. The dead man of RWT, Paul Morales, says, Team Goatee, are you going to the forum on Saturday? So I do like a good goatee. Thumbs up on a goatee. And I'm not going to be at the forum on Saturday because I have kind of a busy day and I'm going to be covering AEW World's End. So I will not be at the forum that day, but it's looking like an exciting show. CM Punk's going to be there. He's going to be facing Dominic Mysterio. So I think everybody who goes is probably going to have a good time, but I won't be there though. Thank you so much to Paul for sending in this super chat. Alrighty, everybody, I will be back. Someone asked Stubble. No stubble. Stubble just looks sloppy. No stubble. You got to look groomed. Even if you got the beard, it's got to be a groomed beard. You know what I mean? I'm done talking about facial hair. Alrighty, everybody. I will catch you guys back here tomorrow for the AEW Dynamite post show with Righteous Reg. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.